Hello, I'm Billy Mitchell with FedScoop TV. Today I'm here with Jon Johnson, the Enterprise Mobility Team Leader with GSA. How are you, Jon?
I'm doing great. Billy, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to have you here with us.
Thank you very much for inviting me. This is fun.
Absolutely. Well, today we're at the 2016 MobileGov Summit, and we wanted to talk a little bit about just that, mobility in government. And, you're an expert guru on mobility over at GSA, and just wanted to see first off kind of how you guys at GSA are working in mobility, and how you guys are kind of driving efficiency and effectiveness government-wide.
Well, thank you for the expert guru comment. That's the first time anybody's called me that, and I'll accept it.
Your nickname.
My children might laugh at that one. So, over at the General Service Administration, I run, as you said, the GSA Enterprise Mobility Program.
Yeah.
This was a program that was developed as a result of the digital government strategy that Steve Van Rokel established in May of 2013. Our program talked about or addressed two of those items that were in there. Establishment of the FSSI wireless BPAs, which deals with carrier services and devices, and the establishment of the Managed Mobility Program that dealt with mobile application management, mobile device management, mobile application store, and that was worked in conjunction with the folks who were putting together the security baseline for MDM at the time. So what most people don't know is those were sort of co-developed. We have since expanded on our program. We've developed materials and we've developed requirements associated with mobile life cycle and expense management, what most people think of as telecommunication and expense management. And we've just recently established the application vetting and application platform component of our program, all of which is on our website, www.gsa.gov/enterprise mobility. Sure. And so that's the way that we look at the mobile space in government, at least up until this point in time. And everything that we do is meant to drive efficiencies and drive costs down for other agencies who are looking to procure certain components of mobility. Yeah. Whether you purchase them together or whether you purchase them apart, people use our materials, people use our guidance. We move them further down the road so that they can take advantage of opportunity costs and reduce the transaction costs associated with buying. Yeah. While simultaneously, at least within the FSSI wireless program, we've actually decreased the cost of services and carrier services in government as well. In 2012, the average price for a mobile device was thought to be around, well, anywhere between $54 and $57. Right now in our program, the average MRC is just about $37, I think $37.17. So what we've seen is a reduction in price, a reduction in costs associated with mobile services in government that agencies are then able to repurpose to continue to build out their environment and therefore make things more efficient for their personnel and really embrace the mobile environment that they're trying to build for their agencies to accomplish their missions.
Yeah. So you guys are helping agencies kind of government-wide. So I'm sure you see a lot of the barriers that agencies are encountering. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Yes. We see three primary barriers. Number one, path dependency. Agencies look at tomorrow the same way as they looked at yesterday. That's human nature. That's impeded the adoption of cloud computing, right? Because people have looked upon cloud as an extension of their own back-end infrastructure. We've seen that impact the carriers' services as well as MDM. And just looking at tomorrow as a way that, based on yesterday's technology, again, that's something that it's human nature. And agencies fear sunk costs associated with what they bought before. So they want to try to squeeze as much life out of that as they can before they go ahead and invest in something new. Right. That actually accounts for the second barrier, which is a budgetary structure that makes it very difficult for agencies to I don't want to say buy, but at the very least account for their inventory. I mean, we've seen FITARA come out and say, okay, CIOs, you need to get better control over your assets. And those assets are, in large part of their mobile infrastructure. In order to gain control over their assets, they need to gain control over their budgets. And they also need to get a better sense of the purchasing that's happening. And that can be a challenge for some. There are agencies who've done a fantastic job with that, though. EPA is an example of one, Social Security Administration, FBI. There are lots of agencies out there, though, that are really figuring out ways to overcome those barriers. And once they figure on overcoming them, those who have not, who still face those barriers, they ask me, they ask our program, what do we do in this situation? We never provide the answer. We actually put them in touch with the folks who actually have solved that similar problem or that identical problem.
Gotcha.
At their agency. The third barrier, so if path dependency is one barrier, if a fragmented budgetary process is a second barrier, the third barrier could very well be security.
Sure.
I mean, we've just recently sort of figured that out and got our arms wrapped around it as a government. And part of that was interaction with industry as well, because they're the ones who actually bake those security components into their end products that now appear to be relatively baked in there. Yeah. Now we can start really developing and developing and deploying those sort of applications and that sort of an environment that many people in this administration and many people in the last, say, 5 years or so really envisioned. Yeah. We're actually just at the cusp of that. And so the future in terms of mobile is looking very, very bright.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those barriers appear to be overcome.
Yeah. And then, so that was specifically about mobile. What about innovation? Are there any other barriers you see out there towards agencies innovating?
What do you mean? Okay. Rhetorical question. What do you mean by innovation?
Exactly. We hear that a lot.
It is. It's become a term that's been used so often that it's just, to me, it's become trite. It's become meaningless. It's what people use to say, what do they mean by, we mean just doing things differently.
Yeah.
If you look at the term innovation was first emerged with Joseph Schumpeter, the economist, right? Yeah. When he talked about the creative destruction of markets. Yeah. Now, what in government, when we create, is then destroyed? Yeah. Not a lot, right? We never kill, right? It's very difficult to kill that. That's why something like federal acquisition regulations never shrinks. Yeah. Because we don't kill anything. Yeah. We just add to it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with any agency internal regulation. When do we ever take anything out? We never do. We just add to it. Yeah. So I'm not rejecting the term. I just think it's a term that's being overused by some. Mm-hmm. Really what they mean is doing things differently, and I think that we work in a bureaucracy, whether we like it or not, and so that takes time and it's slow. Yeah. But I don't think that people give the government enough credit for the strides that we have taken over the last 3 years associated with even enabling this mobile environment. Yeah. We have completely transitioned and transformed our back end and our endpoint device in order to keep up with the marketplace as best we can. And we do that now, at least on a device end, as good, if not better, than we've ever done that before. Yeah. So as I said, we're on the cusp of doing something really cool, and there are agencies that are actively involved in doing that. Again, there's too many to mention, but FBI, which we saw Department of Labor earlier, people are beginning to understand it. That means that people are once you understand it, then you can start addressing it.
Absolutely.
And we're at that point right now, so it's a lot of fun.
Cool. John, I appreciate you stopping by to talk to me a little bit about mobile. Sounds like some good stuff's coming up, so I appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
I'm Billy Mitchell with FedScoop TV. Thanks for watching.